what's up guys? My name is Zach and today I am driving a 2021 GMC Acadia Denali. Up front is a 3.6 liter V6 and down below is a 9-speed automatic transmission. Now I am super excited to be driving this here Acadia for a couple of reasons. First of all, I haven't reviewed an Acadia on the channel yet, so this is my first Acadia. The second reason is the fact that this is a Denali, meaning it is the top trim level, and this even has the Denali Ultimate package on it, which bumps that sticker price, as you just saw, all the way up to $56,000. So we have quite a bit to talk about today. But before we get on to anything else, I have a website, zackpradel.com, where you can check out stickers. I have a retro sticker pack as well as a big friggin' bottle sticker available, both with free shipping. You could also submit your own vehicle to be reviewed by me through a quick and easy submission form. And you could read my behind the scenes blog to see what I'm filming before it comes out on the channel. But let's get back to that 3.6 liter V6 under the hood. Well, GM as a whole has been using this engine for quite some time. One of the very first cars I ever reviewed was a Cadillac SRX with this same engine. It makes 310 horsepower, which is pretty good numbers for a vehicle like this. And it is decently quick. Now, there are other engines offered in the Acadia for 2021. There's a 2.5 liter naturally aspirated inline 4 that comes in the base models. And then there's also a 2.0 liter turbo that you can option as well, all with the 9-speed automatic. Speaking of which, automatic transmission here in the Acadia, they don't make a manual one, and it's fine. You know, GM's 9 speeds, they're fine. I don't really have any complaints about them. I think 9 is a lot of gears, but they do push that fuel economy, of which this averages about 24 miles to the gallon. It also is helped out by cylinder deactivation. Last but not least, this here Acadia is all-wheel drive. However, you could find Acadias in this generation that were front-wheel drive. So if that's something you'd want, you could go with front-wheel drive. Not that you'd really hear anything, but with all of that being said, a little acceleration test. Probably just mostly heard wind. It's not bad. I wouldn't say it's peppy or quick, but it moves out of its own way. I don't feel like it's underpowered, and I like that a lot. I would say overall the drivetrain is pretty solid, and like I said, that 3.6 liter has been used for a long time, so it's a pretty work-through engine. If you need parts, they're available. With that out of the way, let's talk about the interior, because of course we have a lot to go through in here. Well, in front of me, I have 2 physical gauges and a screen. On the left is my tachometer and oil temperature, and on the right is my battery voltage, coolant temperature, and fuel. And then of course in the center I get a screen that I will change some settings on and show you all the different menus you can go through. I like this. However, what kind of annoys me is the fact that the screen goes under the gauges, so like the battery voltage and the oil temperature are part of the screen, but there's the plastic of the gauges that goes over it. I think it's kind of an uncomfortable mix. However, that being said, the screen does have tons of different colors in it, which is what I always look for when it comes to modern gauge cluster screens. On the steering wheel on the left, I have my radar cruise control and heated steering wheel options, pre-collision, all of those safety features, which were reserved for the Denali. If you wanted the emergency braking and such, you had to go up to the Denali. That's why the original owner purchased this vehicle. But off to the right, I have my voice commands, phone options, and my selectors for that screen in the gauge cluster. I also do have skip track and volume around the back of the steering wheel, so I do have steering wheel controls for the radio. Off to the left, I have my power parking brake and my gauge dimmer switch, as well as my heads-up display adjustment. So up above the gauge cluster, I do have a heads-up display giving me my tachometer, current speed, as well as my cruise control settings. On the door, I have my memory seat options. However, something that the owner pointed out that's rather annoying is the fact that when you select between 1, 2, or get out mode, you have to press and hold it until it is done completing the move. So if number 1 is programmed to be all the way forward and number 2 is all the way back, and you want to move it from 1 to 2, you have to hold the number 2 button until it is complete. Seems rather unnecessary. But moving down below that, I do have my power mirrors and power window adjustments. Down below the window switches, I do have a tailgate button. However, this lets me open it up to the max, 3/4, or I could turn it off. Moving into the center, we do have a very typical infotainment system from GM. You'll find this in the Chevy Spark. You'll find this in the Silverado. You'll find this in the GMC Yukon. Pretty much everything that GM makes has the same infotainment system. It's not my favorite. It's also not the worst. I think it's actually pretty easy to use, pretty colorful, and decently responsive. However, something I really like about it is the camera system. So this does have a 360 camera as well as front and back cameras you could toggle between. And I think they're relatively high resolution. I think they give good spacing lines and are very, very useful. I do also, with the infotainment system, I do get a Bose audio system, which is pretty good and a lot better than a lot of GM's base model speakers that they put in their vehicles. Down below that, I have my radio controls. So off to the left, I have volume and I have tune off to the right, as well as my little check mark button, skip track, home, back, things like that. And then I have the climate controls, dual zone climate as well as auto climate. All of the buttons have really good feedback. They really click well and I enjoy them quite a bit. But down below that, that's where you'll find the shifter. Now, GM has been doing this, again, like in the Escalade and the Yukon. They've been using this style shifter, but never mounted this weirdly on the dash. Park is a button, and then reverse and drive, you pull back. Neutral, again, is a button, and then you can shift into low or plus minus if you'd like by just hitting these buttons like a PlayStation controller. Very, very interesting and different. Down below that, I have two USBs in, a 12-volt outlet, an SD card reader for the navigation, and a wireless charger, which is very, very nice. Moving on to the center console, I do have the automatic start-stop on and off button, my traction control on and off, hazard switch, and my parking sensors on and off. This whole area is finished in a nice wood grain, which does give it a very upscale feel. Speaking of which, we do have cup holders, so we will do a big friggin' bottle test here in the 2021 GMC Acadia Denali, and unfortunately it fails. I would expect a larger vehicle like this to accommodate larger bottles. However, the Acadia has let me down. Down below those cup holders, we do have our heated and ventilated seat options for both the driver and the passenger. Very, very nice. And we have our drive modes. So we have lane keep assist off to the left, but then we have two-wheel drive, four-wheel drive, sport, and off-road mode, which is pretty neat. Some nice drivability options there. However, there's not much fanfare when switching modes, and this actual dial itself, it goes back to the center after you hit it. So it's like a rotary phone feeling, which is kind of annoying because then if I want to move it all the way back to two-wheel drive mode, I gotta sort of hit it multiple times. I don't know, not a big fan. Then I do get a center console with some decent storage in there. And something I forgot to mention before we get to the seats is that the rear view mirror is actually a camera. Now this was pioneered with the C8 Corvette in 2020, but GM has pretty much added it to most of their vehicle lineups, and I absolutely love it. Very high frame rate, and actually you don't have to look through a bunch of people's heads if you're carrying a bunch of people and want to see behind you. Very, very nice. But let's get on to the seats. Like I said, they are heated, ventilated, power, and memory, which is just fantastic. They are comfortable, however, of course, with tan seats, a little hard to keep up with, just with stains and things like that. But nevertheless, they are pretty comfortable. Speaking of seats, we do have back seats, so let's go do some back seat reviews. All right, so we're in the back of the 2021 GMC Acadia Denali, and a bunch to note back here. First of all, just take a look at the back seats back here. It's all laid out very, very nice. This does feel decently luxurious. And down below here, I do have my own climate controls, fan speed, and temperature. Some cars neglect the rear climate controls and either, well, don't have them, or they just offer temperature or just offer fan speed, but this gets both fan speed and temperature. I also get heated seats for back here. I also get a 120 volt, 150 watt outlet back here. Fantastic. It's a wall outlet. I could charge whatever the heck I want. And two USB chargers, and down below I do have some slide out cup holders with some storage up at the very front. However, something that bothers me is that the slide doesn't really fit properly. Now, this could be user error from the owner. However, this vehicle has 5,000 miles, and there's already one little issue. The seats themselves are comfortable. Headroom, great. Legroom, great. And I also do have this little vent up here like an airplane, which is great, which is really, really nice. And I get these nice LED lights. I also get to enjoy the second sunroof. So if you'll notice, I get my own sunroof here, but then also there's another sunroof over the driver and passenger. So there's two different sunroofs in this car. Kind of strange. Now let's hop into the third row and see how it is back there. All right, so we're in the third row of the GMC Acadia, and honestly, it's not bad back here. I am pretty impressed. I do have a USB charger right here. I don't get one on that side. And these seats actually do slightly recline. However, you have to do that with the pull strap that we'll talk about in a second. You can't actually do it from the front of the seat. So if you want to recline your seat, you have to reach all the way behind and pull the string. Let's see if I can do it. Oh, there it is. Then you can do it. Very strange design from GMC, but that's okay. One thing I did want to mention also is that this seat slides up and forward. It sort of goes up like that, where this one doesn't. So if you are test driving a GMC Acadia and you only move this seat and you're like, oh, it's not a lot of room to get out, this seat actually moves further, the passenger side, because when you're picking up at schools or anything, normally the curb is on this side. That's why a lot of 90s minivans actually only had doors on this side and not this side, like the GMC Safari. Kind of interesting GMC lineage there. But with all that being said, let's go take a quick look at the trunk and cargo space. So kind of windy here today, but 2 hits on the remote, and it has a power tailgate which opens up nice and smooth. Really, really love that. Now, these are the second row of seats, so you could pull this, let that down, pull this, push it down. You have tons of storage options. You also get a 12-volt outlet back here for either inflating a tire or air mattress when you're camping, whatever that might be. And you do get some storage down here, so you just pull up on this little tab and pull it up, and you have some nice storage, which is definitely super, super nice. Tons of room back here, which I really, really like, of course, once you push that third row down. Now we got to talk about the looks, and I really do like the look of the GMC Acadia. I think especially the Denali gets the nicer grille, different wheels. It says Denali in a couple of different locations, like the front grille, tailgate, and things like that. Overall, I think it's a relatively handsome vehicle, and I think the front end is definitely my favorite part. But now, with all that being said, let's take a second and breathe. What do I think of the GMC Acadia from 2021? Most importantly, the Denali Acadia. Well, I think this is a nice car. I like this car. Driving it here, it has nice features, it's comfortable, it's relatively quiet, has a decently smooth ride, it's fine. But I just can't shake the price tag, $56,000. Now, with taxes and fees and your first fill-up, you're looking at a $60,000 car. And to me, I think there's better cars I would look into. The Mazda CX-9 Signature is fantastic. Great car. The Subaru Ascent is another great 3-row SUV. The Jeep Grand Cherokee L is wonderful. Great features in there. And that's about on par for price, but the Mazda and the Subaru would save you at least $10,000. In most cases, $15,000 to $20,000. Look, if you've bought GM your entire life, this is a good car. It's easy to get in and out of. I think that's a huge selling point for these. It's very well equipped, and the Denali comes with great safety features. But for someone looking into getting into their first car, they don't really have much brand loyalty, you're just shopping around, I don't know if this would really be my first pick. Just in the reasoning that it's just sort of here. It's not really making me feel a certain way. I don't absolutely love this car. I don't hate it either. But for me, I think this vehicle will just sort of fade into the blandness. I'm going out to dinner tonight with a friend who I've known for 20 years and haven't seen in a couple of months. I'm looking forward to it. And I'll share all of the unique and interesting cars I've filmed recently. And I don't think the Acadia is going to be on that list. It's a fine automobile, but certainly not worth more than its weight in gold. I struggle to find that it's even worth $56,000. I don't know. That's a tough number for me to swallow. Well, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Huge thank you to Paul for letting me take out his GMC Acadia Denali from 2021. Paul is absolutely awesome. I've reviewed, it has to be almost in the double digits at this point, vehicles from Paul. He is absolutely awesome. He made this video possible. He's made so many other videos possible, and I can't thank him enough. But I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Don't forget to rate the video, comment on the video, and subscribe if you really liked it. Take care, guys.